Welcome back to Wild Deer Convenience Store, our suspenseful audio journey. Today we dive into Chapter 2, my first afternoon as a new clerk. Anwei Li's just taken a leap into the unknown. Will this small-town job be her fresh start, or something stranger? Let's find out. Chapter 2, my first afternoon as a new clerk. Just like that? He'd hired her without even knowing her name? In that moment, a flood of headlines about lone women flashed through Anwei Li's mind. She suddenly realized she'd been in the store for nearly 10 minutes, and the only other person here was the male clerk. In a remote place like this, if something happened, she might not even make the news. Sorry, I got a bit excited," the man said quickly, as if catching the flicker of unease on her face. He raised his hands, smiling. "I've had that ad up forever, but no one's applied. You showing up is a huge help. I can't thank you enough." Even so, wasn't this all a bit too quick? Or did her face just scream trustworthy? Before Anwei Li could dwell on it, the man ducked behind the counter, vanishing from sight. She froze, hearing his voice echo up. "Name's Panda. You can call me Apan. Me and Xiao, that's the other clerk, you'll share shifts with him, have been pulling 10-hour days because we couldn't find anyone. The store can't even stay open all day. Where'd it go? Oh, thank God, we've got a third shift now, found it." "What?" Before she could ask, a hand shot up from behind the counter, slamming a jangling set of keys onto the surface with a loud clack. She stared at the keys, then at the man standing up, utterly confused. "We provide room and board and it's pretty nice," Apan said, sliding the keys toward her. He pointed at the ceiling with a grin. "Xiao and I live in town, and the store owner has a few properties, so we don't use the upstairs room. Since you need a place, it's yours. Tons of folks leave this town every year, so renting it out's near impossible. Wanna check it out? Then we can start training today." It had been a casual question, asked out of curiosity, and Anwei Li hadn't expected things to move so fast, leaving her no time to second-guess or back out. Minutes later, she was the newest clerk at Huijia Convenience Store, assigned the daily 5 p.m. to midnight shift. But where else could she go? She'd given up her old apartment. Her entire life, over 20 years of it, now fit in the trunk of her car. From the job description, she'd worked the evening shift alone, only dealing with Apan during handovers. His quick decision to hire her seemed free of ulterior motives, which put her at ease at least a little. The upstairs room, long unoccupied, was small but functional. A quick cleanup, and it'd do fine, and Anwei Li had no complaints. Working at a small-town convenience store like this had to be relaxing. The pay was low, but she could cover her car payments, and with free housing and the store's expiring meals for dinner, it'd stretch her savings. In other words, she didn't have much choice but to stay for a few months while she figured out her next move. For an ordinary office worker like her, going broke overnight was easier than she'd ever imagined. "Anwei Li? That's an unusual name," Apan said, reacting like most people did when she introduced herself. "Ever worked in a convenience store before?" "Nope," she replied. "What did you do before?" "Office job," Anwei Li said, recalling her mother's recent lecture. She slipped on the thin, plasticky blue clerk vest, worn and frayed, more like a shell than clothing, as if it had briefly covered countless lives. Now it was her turn. "Why'd you quit?" Apan asked, staring at her with that constant smile, his large teeth gleaming. "Your family know you're here?" Anwei Li stiffened reflexively. "Of course they do." "Your boyfriend okay with you working alone? Your home's not here. Won't that be an issue if you don't go back?" A sudden discomfort twisted in her gut, one she couldn't quite place. She'd been called too sensitive or overthinking too many times, so she forced a smile. I don't have a boyfriend. She regretted it the moment the words left her mouth. Her habit of blurting out the truth always got her into trouble. Oh, Apan nodded, his expression unreadable. This job's simple. You seem educated, so you'll pick it up fast. As if worried she'd back out, he hurried on. The main thing is handling cash and deposits during shift changes. Let me show you the register first. Come here. It's an old machine. Anwei Li stood a step or two back, craning her neck to watch him demonstrate the clunky cash register. She tried it a few times, getting the hang of it. Then Apan pulled out a handover log from under the counter, flipping it open to show her what to record. When I hand off to you, I'll note the amount here. The doorbell chimed with a soft jingle. Now a clerk herself, Anwei Li felt a spark of responsibility. She looked up instantly and called, "Welcome." The sunset outside cast a thick red-gold hue, so rich it felt heavy, like the faint scent of overripe fruit. Touch it, and it might cling to you. The customer stepping through the golden twilight was a silhouette at first. As she moved closer, Anwei Li saw she was a pregnant woman. When you hand off to Xiaoti, keep 100 or 2 and change in the register. Not many use cash these days. The rest gets accounted for and locked in the safe. Apan, engrossed in training, didn't look up, tapping the logbook. The woman didn't glance at the clerks, moving silently between the shelves. Her arms and legs were thin, her face sallow and plain, but her belly bulged prominently. At least 8 months along, Anwei Li guessed. The tight purple short-sleeved shirt she wore didn't fit, riding up to reveal a sliver of swollen, pale skin crisscrossed with faint veins. Wouldn't that be uncomfortable for a pregnant woman? Apan's voice snapped her back. Then you record these totals. Anwei Li felt a twinge of guilt for zoning out. It's kind of complicated, she said after a moment. I'll take notes on my phone. The doorbell jingled again. She glanced up instinctively. This time it wasn't a new customer. The pregnant woman was leaving empty-handed. No, wait. Anwei Li's head snapped up so fast she heard her neck crack. The woman couldn't be called pregnant anymore. Not only were her hands empty, but her belly was flat. The purple shirt clung tightly to her frame. No trace of a bulge. As if she hadn't eaten in days, let alone been pregnant. Was there another thin woman in a purple shirt in the store? Anwei Li scanned the aisles, but the small shop was empty except for the woman. Former pregnant woman? Now at the door. Hey, you listening? Apan finally looked up, calling to her. What are you staring at? Anwei Li flinched. When she glanced back, the woman with the flat belly was gone. What had she just seen? How could she explain it to Apan? Anyone would think she was losing it. I think my eyes played tricks on me, she said, testing the waters. Did you see that customer? The one who was pregnant when she came in. What do you mean, pregnant when she came in? Apan laughed, his face tightening, his small black eyes boring into her like twin voids. She got pregnant on the way out? I didn't see her. I was looking down. If her belly was flat when she entered and swollen when she left, Anwei Li might suspect shoplifting. But the other way around? Did the woman give birth in the few minutes she was in the store? Doubting herself, she couldn't have misseen something that obvious. Anwei Li made an excuse to check the back of the store. The aisles she'd walked as a customer, now as a clerk, were empty. No abandoned baby, naturally. Of course, she hadn't expected to find one, bloody and still. By the time she returned, her confidence had crumbled. She must have seen it wrong. The heavy backlight could have distorted things, and a pregnant woman would have been more frantic than anyone if something had happened. Apan didn't call her out for wandering off mid-training. For the next half hour, he guided her through the store, showing her how to stock shelves, refill freezers, and handle cleaning tasks. Finally, he said, "That's about it. If you have an emergency, call me or ask Xiaoti during shift change. Any questions?" Anwei Li shook her head. Apan glanced outside, exhaled, and relaxed his shoulders. "It's getting dark," he said casually. "Rest up tonight. Tomorrow at 5 p.m., you must be on time." End of Chapter 2. What was up with that customer? And what's waiting for Anwei Li on her first shift? Tune in for Chapter 3. Like and subscribe to keep up with the mystery.